Indy Mogul.
This summer, Captain America hits theaters, and Steve Rogers, well, he's a super soldier, representing something far more important than just his country, the men and women who risked their lives to defend it. So in honor of the upcoming Captain America movie and those who wear the uniform in real life, here's Beyond the Trailers list of top 10 war movies. Plus, stay tuned for a special Indy Mogul announcement at the end of this video. War is hell, and perhaps no one knew it better than General George S. Patton. One of the most brilliant and controversial military figures of World War II, he is famous for his courageous leadership in battle and infamous for slapping a hospitalized soldier across the face for cowardice. Hollywood couldn't wait to immortalize him on film. But Patton's family refused to cooperate, so screenwriters Francis Ford Coppola and Edmund H. North based their script on a popular Patton biography and one of his second-in-command, Omar Bradley. The resulting film was a huge hit and won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actor for George C. Scott as Patton. The Persian Gulf War was an unconventional war, and Three Kings is an unconventional war movie. A small group of soldiers discover a treasure map to one of Saddam Hussein's bunkers containing gold bullion stolen from Kuwait and decide to steal it for themselves. Too bad morality ends up getting in the way of a perfect heist. It's hard to tell who cared more about this movie, director David O. Russell or star George Clooney. Both of them were in desperate need of a hit, and they infamously fought on set. In fact, they're still not speaking to this day. But they got their hit. There were many great campaigns in World War II, but Saving Private Ryan tells the story of a much smaller, yet no less important campaign. When 3 out of 4 brothers are killed in combat within days of each other, the Army sends a company of men to retrieve the last living brother and send him home. Steven Spielberg's powerful war epic famously opens with a 27-minute startling recreation of D-Day, reminding audiences that the brutality of war is timeless. Even the idyllic 1940s weren't immune. Wouldn't it be great if we could rewrite the injustices of history? Well, Quentin Tarantino does just that with his quirky yet brilliant take on World War II. While Brad Pitt was the star of the film, he was overshadowed by 2 star-making turns. The first was Christoph Waltz as SS Colonel Hans Landa, who delivered a performance on par with Alan Rickman's iconic villain in Die Hard. Waltz went on to win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. The second standout was Michael Fassbender as Lieutenant Archie Hickox. In just one tense barroom scene, Fassbender put himself on the Hollywood map and will return to screens this summer as Magneto in X-Men First Class. The United States rarely loses a fight, but when we do, it wounds our spirit and emboldens our enemies going forward. One such conflict was the devastating Battle of Mogadishu in Somalia, which Ridley Scott vividly recreated in Black Hawk Down. The film is not only a realistic depiction of modern urban warfare, but also starred a batch of hot new Hollywood actors. Eric Bana, Josh Hartnett, Ewan McGregor, Orlando Bloom, Hugh Dancy, Tom Hardy, and more. Some of them made it, and some of them didn't. The same can be said with far more gravity of the soldiers they portrayed. Perhaps what makes Oliver Stone's Platoon so powerful is that it's an insider's take on the horrors of war. Stone based the film on his own tour of duty. In fact, it was Stone's experience in Vietnam that inspired him to become a filmmaker. However, when he first tried to get Platoon made, Hollywood felt audiences wouldn't want to watch a movie about Vietnam. Then when The Deer Hunter and Apocalypse Now proved them wrong, Hollywood felt that Stone couldn't possibly top those films. But Stone soldiered on, and his faith was rewarded as Platoon was a huge hit at the box office and won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. American history often whitewashes its soldiers, but it's movies like Glory that remind us people of all different colors have bled for this country. While star Matthew Broderick played Colonel Robert Gould Shaw, the white Bostonian who led one of the first all-African-American units in the United States Army, director Ed Zwick was determined that this movie would not just be Shaw's story. This is the story of the entire 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry, and won then-rising star Denzel Washington the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Although it's based on real events, The Bridge on the River Kwai is a work of fiction. Why then is it so high up on this list? Because director David Lean explores one of the darkest horrors of war that rarely sees the light of the film projector, what it's like to be a prisoner of war. Made in the 1950s, producers felt audiences would not be able to handle the physical horrors of living in a POW camp, so they decided to focus on the psychological ones. Lenin star Alec Guinness fought over whether this film is anti-British, and the issue has never been resolved. You'll have to decide for yourself. The year after Platoon, Stanley Kubrick released his own Vietnam opus, Full Metal Jacket. And nobody can find the ridiculousness of a situation quite like Kubrick. He focuses both on the training of the last generation of Americans to be drafted into war, and then what happens when those soldiers are introduced into the battlefield. Furthermore, drill instructor Hartman is played by former real-life drill instructor R. Lee Ermey, who improvised many of his insults as well as served as the film's technical advisor. But Ermey's real-life experience isn't the only reason Kubrick's film rings hauntingly true. Every war inspires the artists of its generation, and the filmmakers of the 1970s were no different. Stone and Kubrick had their Vietnam films, and so did Francis Ford Coppola. Coppola, in fact, had a fantastic run of films in the early 70s, which interestingly began with a war film, his script for Patton, and ended with another war film, Apocalypse Now, just like this list. Apocalypse Now is actually based on the 1902 novella Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which explored the evils of British colonization, but Coppola saw distinct parallels to the United States' involvement in the Vietnam War. Furthermore, Apocalypse Now became a famous film even before it was released due to its behind-the-scenes drama, such as Marlon Brando showing up for work significantly overweight and Martin Sheen suffering a heart attack on set. And the film also features Harrison Ford in a blink-and-you'll-miss-him role back when he was a young carpenter who happened to be doing some work on Coppola's office and caught the director's eye. And that is Beyond the Trailer's list of top 10 war movies. And you could win them all with Indy Mogul's War Movie Month contest. Make your own war movie short by April 22nd and upload it to indymogul.com/submit. And make sure War Movie Month is somewhere in the title so we don't miss it. For the full set of rules, check out BFX host Zach Finfrock's announcement by clicking here. The winner will get all the movies I just mentioned on DVD, plus a cool book signed by the entire Indy Mogul crew. Good luck, and be sure to check back here on Beyond the Trailer for more Captain America news and reviews.